Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a deeply moving historical narrative. We're talking about a story of profound loss, unwavering resilience, and honestly, the sheer incredible strength of a child. We'll be exploring the life of Hazrat Bibi Sakina, also historically known as Lady Ruqayya. But to really grasp the emotional weight of her history, well, we actually need to start by looking at how her story connects to a very modern experience of grief. Our source material actually frames this whole historical epic through the eyes of a modern 5-year-old girl named Nargis. Just picture her for a second, holding her golden-haired doll, desperately seeking comfort. Nargis has recently lost her own father in battle. She's struggling to sleep, and her heart is just yearning for her real dad to be by her side one last time. It's a pretty universal image of childhood sorrow, isn't it? And that brings us to a truly heartbreaking moment the next morning. Nargis looks up and asks her mother this incredibly profound question. "Mother, why do all children have fathers while mine does not?" Now, instead of just offering empty platitudes, her mother decides to comfort Nargis by connecting her pain to history. She asks if she'd like to hear a story about another little girl from a long, long time ago, a little girl whose father also went on a journey and didn't return. Section 1. Joyous Birth in Medina. To tell this story, the mother transports Nargis and us way back to the year 57 AH. The atmosphere in Medina was absolutely electric. Imam Hussain, the third Imam of the Shiites, joyously embraced his newborn daughter. He proudly named her Lady Ruqayya, though she was affectionately known as Hazrat Bibi Sakina. He held her close, reciting the adhan in her right ear and the iqama in her left. It was a wonderful welcome into a world just full of love. She spent her earliest years in what the text beautifully describes as the perfumed city of Medina, and she was so deeply cherished by her family. You know, she wasn't born into sorrow, not at all. She was born into a home radiating with affection and spiritual richness, living a happy childhood where she just played daily with kids her own age. The spirit of her noble ancestors really lingered in this city, and it shaped her early upbringing in such a positive way. She was growing up completely safe under the protective, affectionate shadow of her father. Looking back, it was, in every sense of the word, the absolute calm before the storm. Section 2. The Journey to Karbala. But as you might guess, that piece just wasn't meant to last. The governor of Medina received this threatening letter from the ruler, Yazid. Yazid was a tyrannical figure who demanded that Imam Hussain pledge allegiance to his unjust rule, or literally face death. Completely refusing to endorse this oppression, Imam Hussain was forced to migrate from his home in the dead of night. He took his family, including young Lady Ruqayya, right along with him, just to avoid bloodshed in their beloved city. Now, this journey took a massive geographical and emotional toll. Departing Medina at night, they first sought sanctuary in Mecca, but discovering assassins hiding among the pilgrims, they headed toward Kufa, only to be intercepted by enemy armies. Ultimately, their path was forced toward the completely desolate plains of Karbala, arriving there on the 2nd of Muharram. Actually, scratch that. Before we talk about Karbala, I want to draw your attention back to Mecca for just a second. Imam Hussain made the choice to abandon his Hajj pilgrimage and leave this holy sanctuary for one very specific reason: to preserve its peace. Knowing soldiers were waiting to assassinate him, he flat out refused to let unjust blood be spilled in the house of God. His departure was just a profoundly selfless act of respect. Section 3. The Day of Ashura. And this brings us to the most somber part of the mother's story. Out under the vast starry night sky of the desert on the 2nd of Muharram, Imam Hussain ordered the tents to be set up. But what's really striking here is the absolute innocence of Lady Ruqayya during this buildup. While massive armies gathered and the adults prepared for the absolute worst, this little girl continued to play near the tents, completely unaware of the monumental tragedy about to strike. On the eve of the battle, Imam Hussain gathered his followers together. He told them, "The enemy's aim and intention is only to kill and martyr me, so take advantage of the darkness of the night and return to your families." Facing certain death, he completely selflessly released his companions from their allegiance, essentially begging them to escape while they could. But they refused. No way were they leaving. The source details this remarkable loyalty of his family and companions. Not a single one left his side. Instead, they spent that entire final night in intense prayer, in deep spiritual preparation, and declaring their absolute support to stand firm against tyranny right alongside him.
So why does this specific day carry so much historical and theological weight? Well, religious leaders like Imam Sadiq and Imam Reza explicitly frame Ashura not as a day of fasting or joy, but as a day of profound cosmic grief. Imam Reza notes that the enemies violated the sanctity of a sacred month just to shed innocent blood. It's a day strictly, entirely dedicated to mourning.
And then the morning of Ashura breaks. The text describes a truly heartbreaking reality. The battle commences, and one by one, loyal companions and family members fall to the immense enemy army. And witnessing all of this, right from the edge of the tents, is young Lady Ruqayya. This 3-year-old girl watches in sorrow and intense thirst as her beloved father and his supporters are brutally martyred.
Section 4. Captivity and Final Rest. The battle ends, but honestly, the suffering does not. Once Imam Hussain fell, the opposing army rushed the encampment in a brutal raid. They looted the survivors and set the tents entirely ablaze. In the total chaos of the desert night, Lady Zainab had to bravely gather the terrified, grieving children, including young Lady Ruqayya, under the remnants of a half-burnt tent just to protect them.
The agonizing steps of their captivity started immediately. The grieving family was bound in chains and forced into a scorching march across vast deserts and towering mountains. They were first taken to Kufa and ultimately paraded right into Syria. Yazid cruelly ordered the city to be illuminated and decorated, parading this traumatized, chained family through the streets as if they were defeated slaves.
And so we reach the conclusion of Lady Ruqayya's short life. On the 5th of Safar in the year 61 AH, the trauma, the immense grief of losing her father, and the physical torture of the journey finally took their toll. The young 3-year-old victim found eternal rest, passing away in a desolate prison, the ruins of Syria. She was buried right there, so far away from the perfumed city of her birth. Which brings us right back to the mother finishing this story for little Nargis. We've seen a journey from immense joy to profound tragedy, but it leaves us with a highly provocative thought to end on. How does the ancient memory of a 3-year-old captive, someone who faced the ultimate darkness yet remained a pure symbol of innocence, continue to resonate, heal, and teach resilience to grieving children like Nargis today? It really makes you think about the power of history to comfort the present. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning.